Welcome, kings and queens, to another episode brought to you by us, the educators. I am Oba, and I'm here with my brother,
Peace, family, Shabazz.
and we're bringing you some more high-level talk around the NBA. We're continuing our series in regards to championship contenders for this year and the future. Now, as we can see, the NBA is going to be super stacked this year.
No doubt, you know that.
I can't recall. I think it's only been a few times in history where I've seen. I mean, to be honest, I'm 35 years old. I've never seen a time in NBA history where both Eastern and Western conferences had 1 through, I would say, 5 teams in each side that can possibly win a chip or get a chip.
Yeah.
You get the chip. So
And 1 through 10 or 1 through 12 in each conference that can make the playoffs possibly.
Exactly. I know there was one time when the West had 8 teams or 7 teams that won 50 games.
The West historically in the past 10 to 15 was always deep. Probably longer than that for all I know. But
Facts. So today we're going to start with the Boston Celtics. Last year, Boston Celtics were 51-31 and got to the NBA championship with their first year coach and only year head coach, Ime Udoka.
That's a last.
And as you all have probably seen already by now on all kinds of publications and websites and news outlets that he was caught. You know what I'm saying? He was caught being, how can I explain this? Byron Longan, Lexington Steele.
Out here wild.
Any porn star you could think of. He was getting it down. He was getting down with it in terms of smashing all the female employees on the Boston Celtics. So we'll discuss more about that after we go through the team and what they accomplished this past year. But
Man, just couldn't contain himself.
at all. Self-control is important, fellas. So, like I said, last year they were 51-31, made the NBA Finals. They had how many All-Stars? 2 All-Stars.
Yep.
They produced 2 players who were in Defensive Player of the Year running, and 2 players who made All-NBA defense, in Marcus Smart and Robert Williams. In terms of players lost last year, like when you see this roster right here of all the teams that they lost, just keep in mind the COVID situation that occurred last year is why they had so many players. So yes, majority of these players are not on the team, but Romeo Langford, who didn't play that much, Joe Johnson,
Aaron Nesmith.
yeah, Aaron Nesmith,
Daniel Tice.
Daniel Tice was actually probably the best key player that they lost last year.
Yeah.
Everybody else is returning, which is a great formula, and they're adding
Malcolm Brogdon.
who's going to bring a lot of pace, and he's going to be able to slow down the offense for them because, as we can see last year in the finals, the Celtics were very erratic. They were very confused about where the ball should go, who should run the plays.
Great way to put it though. You know, it was no real flow. It was more so just one-on-one basketball, or we just got too many niggas that could do too much with the ball.
Exactly. That's the key word I was looking for, flow. There was no real flow. Like Tatum broke the all-time record for turnovers, I think in the finals or in a playoff run in general.
Yeah, the whole playoff run.
Yeah, and that's pretty disgusting.
He dropped like what? 11 turnovers in game 1 in the finals?
Yes.
Something along the lines of that.
The beautiful part is that he showed other aspects of his game, which is very promising. If you're a Celtics fan, he showed the ability to pass and play make. He showed the ability to play high-level defense, shutting down KD to a certain extent in the first round. So he showed you a different side, but Jaylen Brown also showed you why I always say he's the best Celtic, which is up for debate. But yeah, you know,
Each his own.
each his own. So like I said, the key players they added was Malcolm Brogdon. They also recently added Blake Griffin.
Yep.
They added Daniel Gallinari, who tore his meniscus and fever ball.
Yeah.
So
And
hopefully,
they just drafted J.D. Davidson.
J.D. Davidson's a huge player that they drafted.
Yeah, super steal.
Yeah, so we're gonna see how he plays out. I'm not sure in terms of his ability to be a true point guard, but if he just learns and plays the right way, I think he can be a effective player.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. It's just his athleticism and his instincts on defense is something that I've noticed too throughout watching his career.
Yes.
His instincts.
And he actually uses his athleticism on defense, which is a beautiful thing. In terms of additions, those are the main additions for this year. Like I said, Blake Griffin, whatever he has left. Gallinari's already out for the year. They're really going to be counting on Brogdon and then returning players to take on the same load as last year.
Yeah, real talk though.
Yeah, so the chemistry is the same, which is going to be hard. Like on the court, I don't think it was a hard formula. Everybody played defense and kind of keep the ball moving until the best shot comes up. But last year, you guys did my turn, your turn with Tatum, Brown, and Smart.
And that's all it was. Like, the Celtics, it's kind of hard to put it, but you could really say they were playing together, but they weren't playing together, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
100%. The defense was 100% together.
Fact.
You can see that.
That was, yeah, all in unison.
Offense, they weren't. So that kind of plays into what you were saying in terms of they were playing together, but they were playing separate at the same time. And it was an offense-defense thing. In terms of they couldn't really find they found enough of a flow together to get to the finals, which is you got to have some kind of a flow. But it wasn't high level enough to beat a team like the Warriors, whose offense is an autopilot.
And they've been doing this for 8-9 years.
Exactly.
That's why I commend, Udoka's impact last year. Because you just see the way he just had them playing together, bro. And that was within 1 year.
1 year. And the beautiful part is that historically, even me as a coach and coaching young people, young black males, sometimes there's just stigma. I've heard, I think Byron Scott mentioned it before, where he says black players listen to white coaches differently than they do black coaches. And I've noticed that a little bit where, like, they shut down when black coaches have been there for a while. They keep ignoring them. It don't matter what kind of background the black coach has. I've seen it happen a little bit, but I also noticed that white coaches sometimes get a certain level of respect. And the same thing happens in the teaching field, where, like, some students have more respect for a white teacher than black teachers. But sometimes it's the other way, and this situation showed us this. Like, when you go from Brad Stevens, who's an amazing, amazing basketball mind.
Yep.
But Brad Stevens had, 6-7 teams for 7 years that could have possibly went to the finals.
All talented, crazy,
super talented squads. And he couldn't get it together. You can hear, there's clips of him doing press conferences during the COVID time where you can hear the team in the background fighting and arguing.
Yep.
You could tell players never really listened. Kyrie sure as hell didn't listen when he was there. You could tell Jaylen Brown has his own personal things, which leads us into the chemistry and the issues they're going to have. See, Brad Stevens is now the general manager, and he has a big issue at hand now with Ime Udoka. And like you said, the chemistry and the reason why they were able to stay together was because of Ime.
Exactly.
Now, I also believe the fact that they had two players who were Defensive Player of the Year candidates, they inspired the rest of the squad.
That was clear.
It was clear. So that combination is what pushed them to the finals.
That's real, though. Like, the way, and they just needed to plug that one piece in, which was Udoka.
Exactly.
To help them, put it all together.
Speaking of plugging in, because Udoka couldn't stop plugging himself into certain areas of people on the team.
Super savage. Super savage.
Now we have a big issue. What Kyrie said, this is a cluster. Yeah, F.
You know the rest.
Yeah.
You know the rest.
And in terms of biggest obstacles, before this Ime stuff happened, I would have said the biggest obstacle was Jaylen Brown's. You can tell, like, he's uneasy. If you watch the media
100%.
day, if you see his personality, he always talks about, like, how come I don't get the same? How come I don't get the same attention, the same accolades, the same praise? You can tell something's brewing between him and Tatum, but it's not overt.
Exactly.
Like, they're not cool. They don't hang out together for real. Not that I know of.
They're teammates.
They're teammates.
It's
That's
strictly
it.
teammates.
And they have a little bit of Ben Simmons and Embiid vibe that I noticed with them several years back, where it's not they hate each other, but you could tell, like, they kind of just work together and they keep it respectful.
Yeah.
But any little thing can send it left.
And that's the thing. It's like that awkwardness.
Exactly.
Because usually when you're around, especially another male, when men get together for long periods of time, it usually turns out one of two ways. They either, become the best of friends, become,
enemies.
Exactly, or enemies. That's there's only those two routes.
Facts.
Or
Most
they
of the
just
time.
keep it cordial. They
Facts.
just work together and.
Facts.
And in this case, you just see it's not that brotherly type of relationship.
Yeah.
It's more so just.
You work together.
Work together, exactly. So like we said, it's just they work together.
And the thing is that they've been together for about 6 years now.
Yeah, 6-7 years.
So that's more. Keep in mind, you understand, athletes spend 80-90% of the time with their staff members of the coaching staff, team staff members, and then each other. So there's nothing but time to get to know each other, to build a bond, and they still haven't really built one.
Yeah.
Which shows you even further more. I also have inside friends who are close to Tatum, who grew up in this area, who know Tatum as well. And the things that I hear from him in terms of that, like, Tatum is his own island, Brown's his own space. Like Brown is signed with Kanye and Donda, which is foreshadowing in terms of like your mind being everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But this is the only thing I would say is the issue is how Brown plays throughout the course of the year and whether he gets mad, frustrated, doesn't go as hard, various things of that nature. The other issue is your man Williams, who played through the playoffs with a torn meniscus, played through the finals, now is out until possibly All-Star break.
Damn near.
They're saying end of January, but that basically means All-Star break. So now you have, to me, Robert Williams was what? I think he should have been Defensive Player of the Year.
That was 100%.
Me personally.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that was, if you really watch the game, you could see the impact, Robert Williams.
Game changer.
I believe he had one of the highest plus minuses in the league.
Yes.
Him on the court.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So his impact was no doubt, it was clear. It was clear. Even throughout the playoffs, I think he had top 5, top 3 highest plus minus.
And this is a dude that was playing like 60-70% the whole time.
Exactly.
So it shows you that like how important he is. Because once he came back and played fully, they had no issues until towards the playoffs. But by the time the playoffs came, he already built momentum. So he's also out this year.
Yeah.
And then Brogdon, you had mentioned it in a conversation off air. You said Brogdon has never played 82 games in the season.
That's the thing. Out of the 6 years he's been in the league, I believe 6 years, Brogdon has only played over 60 games 2 times.
Yeah, see.
So 2 out of 6. That's what? 40%? Yeah,
Basically.
That's 40%. But 40% of the seasons he's been in the league, he's only played over 60 games.
Basically, so
and on top of that, he's not as young. He stayed
Facts.
at least 3 years in college,
Facts.
4 years in college.
Facts.
So he's not the same dude.
yeah,
that you might
young
think.
fried chicken.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So with that being said, the obstacles are plenty.
Yeah.
They already have a chemistry issue on offense. They have Jaylen Brown, who's the 1 or 2, he's 1A, 1B best player who might be looking elsewhere.
And then we didn't even add the fact that Jaylen Brown was in trade talks this offseason.
That's the other thing. I knew I was forgetting something.
Yeah,
Jaylen Brown was offered for the KD and the confused guys over in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And that you could tell it rubbed him the wrong way. I will say this. I heard a saying from Shaq, I think. Shaq said his dad said to him when he first got traded, or he was going to get traded, he said to him, Wilt Chamberlain was traded, so anybody can be traded.
Hey, yeah, you can't say nothing more than that.
And that stuck to me, and I was like, damn, I really gotta look at it like that. You understand? Because historically, yeah, if Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq was traded, Kareem was traded, you talking about all-time great players, legends were traded, then yeah, of course Jaylen Brown can get traded.
Yeah.
So it's not disrespectful if they say trade you for KD. You probably do that trade too on 2K.
Real talk.
1,000 times over.
You gotta be open-minded.
You gotta be open-minded. They ain't trying to trade you for picks and like nothing. So
get the delusion out your mind.
Exactly. But that shows you his ego and he's a little. He tends to be a little emotional. He's a great, I guess, representative of the community to a certain extent in the NBA. Has an intellectual mind, but I would say the injury with Robert Williams, Brogdon not really staying healthy, and then your best or second best player looking outward, and then third, looking outward as in wanting to go to another team.
Yep.
Third, you have, like I said, the chemistry and not being able to put the team together offensively and seeing that they can gel properly. But the biggest issue is Ime Udoka. So Ime Udoka was allegedly having sexual relations with several women on the Celtics staff. Now, whether it was 1, 2, 3, I'm not sure. Now, any dude who has any experience with women knows that it's probably not the first time for him.
Yeah.
You understand? It's probably just one of the few times he got caught.
Yeah.
Secondly, the crazy part was the findings. So apparently, the lady works for the Celtics. Her husband works for a private investigating firm. So the husband wasn't the original husband that we talked about off air.
Yeah.
The head of finance. It was another guy who works. He's the same last name, Lynch.
Oh, wow.
The same last name as the head of the Celtics financial staff, the vice president of finances. He had the same last name, but it's a different guy. He's affiliated with the Celtics, but his wife works at the Celtics.
Okay, so it wasn't both in this.
Nah.
That's interesting.
And then they said, this is all alleged, because we probably won't get this real story until like maybe years later.
Fact.
And even then it might be changed. But they said apparently that the husband knows his wife acting funny. And then when he caught her, she didn't tell him who it was. It said he went to the Ring camera,
Yeah.
listened to all the videos, and he pressed her out because she was talking about goblin glizzies. You know what I'm saying? And her infatuation with Ime's, you know what I'm saying, possession.
And he knew she wasn't talking about him.
Yeah. Now, he went and forced her to, he hired his company.
Yeah.
The company he works for,
Personal
he had them go investigate. The company found out, and he told her that we had to go tell the Celtics.
That's a different level of insecurity.
Yeah.
Bro. She's already cheating on you, bro.
Just let it go.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Let
saying?
it go.
If you cheating on me, F it, we done. I'm not worried about who, what, you know, the details. That's for the birds, man.
And that's when she went and tried to break it off.
With Ime.
And Ime didn't know at that point. Ime was just like, what you doing?
Yeah.
They said when they looked through the text messages, Ime was very aggressive in how he talked to her in general. Now here's a part that's up for debate. I'm not sure. We gotta see more information. They say Ime was like kind of like forcing her and using his power as head coach and telling her shit like, yeah, you're gonna lose your job. You know who I am? Stuff like that. And it's like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
As a man, if you got power, please don't use your power to over people. Use it in a positive way, but this is the worst example. It's like, come on, bro, you can hit anything.
Let alone, like...
Hit anything, bro. You gotta force a woman at work. Like, you know what era we live in, bro? Now, people keep saying, knee alone this, knee alone that. I'll say this. They probably been going through issues. I'm not condoning it. But at the same time, when all y'all simp dudes talking about Nia Long is 50 plus years old. Nia Long is 5 years older than him. If you understand relationship dynamics, most of the time, the younger male is not going to be as physically aroused by an older woman for that long period of a time. Like whenever you see Nia Long at red carpet events, all dolled up, he's not seeing the same Nia Long at night when she takes everything off.
No makeup.
I'm not condoning what he's doing. You understand? Like to be honest, he deserves to lose his job. The reason why they didn't fire him is because the Celtics been found out months ago, and he didn't tell Nia Long at all. She found out the news. So he's known for 2 months. They said he had Nia and his son come out to look for houses in Boston 2 weeks ago. It's like, come on, bro, really?
That's too regular, bro.
Like, come on, bro. You gonna still invite your fiance and your child to look for a house when they already told you the story's gonna come out? We're gonna prepare everybody, let everybody in your family know.
And the problem with this situation, bro, is that it's one thing for a player to do this, a young player, you know, young-minded, whatever you want to say, but this is a grown man, 40 plus years old, damn near 50, touching 50.
Exactly.
He's been in all types of these environments. He's been in the NBA before. He's played overseas.
Exactly.
He's been coaching for a long time under Pop and you know, just around the league.
Hey, but that's why I say that at the end of the day, you can't never tell a man when he's gonna stop. He just has to be disciplined and be realistic in his decision making. So,
great way to put it.
Yeah, I would say that like sometimes if a man's in physical shape, he's able to slang wood well enough. He's gonna have sex 50, 60 until he's 50, 60 years old, just like uncontrollably. So that man probably should not be in a relationship on some real shit. Or here's the other part that we don't know. Nia Long may have already known that he was sleeping around. It may have been on some don't let you find out. That's the one thing that people don't like to accept, but high-level celebrities, athletes, your favorite entertainers are effing around. They're sleeping with other people.
You just gotta be realistic.
Gotta be realistic.
You wait for 80 games in the offseason, you know, the top physical condition compared to most men.
Exactly. So, like, you know what I'm saying? I'll say a man can have sex with another woman and still love his wife. Whether you like it or not, however you feel, that's the DNA of men. You understand? Women cannot just have sex randomly. Yes, some can. I know y'all gonna be like, yeah, we can do it too. Some can.
Misogynistic.
Yes, exactly. The soulless whores can do it, yes. But the majority of women's society cannot do it. So therefore, I'm not condoning it, but the problem is how, where, when, and the ways he went about it. That's really the main issue. And in the middle of all this, he's imploded his whole team. Now, because the NBA and NFL is savage, there's a 50% chance he gets another job because of how good he did and his background. There's a 50% chance he doesn't get another job because he's a black man piping down white female staffers. So
in a Boston organization.
And here's the other thing. Boston don't want to seem racist because they already have a history of practicing racist acts as a city. and this team has to bear the responsibility of that.
As former players.
Literally, exactly. So
tell us a little about Bill Russell's retirement ceremony.
Yes, thank you. Bill Russell, who won 11 chips, won the first black head coaches in NBA history. One of the first. Legend. MVP trophy is named after him.
Yep.
And you understand, 11 rings. One of the greatest players of all time said that I think he just did his retirement ceremony about, I want to say, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
2 years ago?
5 years.
He did it with his family and close people in the privacy of his home because he said Boston as an organization, as a city, was way too racist for him to celebrate that with them.
And that's just coming from a legend.
Exactly.
The greatest player in the franchise.
And this is something that, like, he just did recently. So that shows you that all those experiences, interactions have been harboring within him. You know what I'm saying?
And on top of that, bro, it was funny, you saying that because when Kyrie Irving was having similar feelings, or everybody looked at him like he's emotional, he's being extra, or he's just doing too much. But the greatest player in your franchise says the same thing, but we don't speak on that.
Exactly.
We got paint Kyrie out to look like he's crazy, or
exactly looking for a scapegoat.
Yeah, exactly.
And now to bring it back to this situation, Boston has this kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but they have to figure out ways to do things without coming off as racist now. Every little thing. Mm-hmm. So if they release a player while they're injured, if they trade a player, if they're gonna sign a staff member, they gotta think about all these things because, like I said, this stopped them from getting Paul George, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis. These are all the behind-the-scenes conversations that have been going on in terms of Boston and these free agents not coming there.
Yep.
You understand? So now the reason why they didn't fire him outright is because how bad it looks. Black guy hating a white female who was cool with it, and he's the one getting in trouble. So I agree that like his name should be out there more because his position is well known. I don't think she has to be drugged through the mud. Her name will get out eventually. That's how the system goes. You know what I'm saying? Technology is everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's right that his name is out more just because he's a head coach.
Yeah.
He has a great responsibility. As men, we can't be complaining that, oh yeah, she did it too. Nah, we don't do that. As a man, you gotta know what you participated in and take on your responsibility.
That's real. When it comes down to that quote, women and children could be careless. Men can't be careless.
Yes, facts.
So that's a clear example in this situation right here.
I can't even say any better than that. So, with that being said, we're also trying to dictate the chances of these teams winning this year and the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah. In
terms of this year, their chance has went completely down.
Yeah.
I think of all the top contending teams, now they're in the bottom 7, 8. Because it's about 8 teams, 7 teams. Our list is going to include 7, 8 teams we're going to go through. They're down there with the Pelicans. I might even put the Pelicans up there. If the Pelicans find chemistry, they're going to be better than Boston.
I can see that possibly.
Ime was too grave a coach for them. You understand?
So I got a question for you. If you could give a time frame on how long you think the Celtics have a shot in winning the chip, what would you give them?
To be honest, I would say 0. Only if they make some other trade, because I don't think Brogdon's it. I think he's a great piece, but last year Ben Simmons didn't play for the Nets.
Yeah.
The second round, Milton didn't play.
Yep.
The third round, Hero, Lowry, and Butler all had injuries. So, based on that, I like to look at who teams played, who was healthy, to see if they really have a chance. Same thing with the Warriors when we get to them. But the Celtics, based on those injuries, they would have lost to one of those teams last year.
That's why context matters, bro.
100%. And I think because of that, and now you add this situation like this, and you have Jaylen Brown already kind of moody.
Yeah.
If any little thing goes bad, it can be bad. Y'all would have to be like running. Like last year, y'all was shaky as hell, and then found momentum.
Exactly.
Y'all can't afford that this year.
You gotta start off hot.
You gotta start off hot or like strong. No pun intended, man. But you gotta start off, you know what I'm saying, like on a good note. You can't have all these rocky situations they have. So I'll say because of that, I'm gonna give them the least chance. They still have a chance. They have a very, very talented roster, but this impacts chemistry a lot. And in terms of future winning, I'm gonna say that because Boston's always created great teams, go check out our video on greatest franchises in NBA history. I think Boston was top 3.
Yeah.
They're always gonna create some kind of a team, and you guys already have amazing pieces. So I think because of y'all history and knowing that Brad Stevens is a great basketball mind, you guys are gonna find a way to get some player in a trade or free agency or randomly that's gonna continue the timeline. So I would say y'all have the least chance this year over the next 3 to 5 years. I would say it's probably a 30% chance, 40% chance, depending on how Boston orchestrates the team, basically. That's pretty much it when it comes to the Celtics. Hey, the NBA is forever changing, so things can change. If they do change, we'll update it in another video. But other than that, fellas, know your value, build your value, but control both your heads. Like Jay-Z has a famous line that said, I got both my heads where they're supposed to be. You understand? And the thing is that as a man, you gotta know how to control both of your heads, your mind and your lower head. So yeah, keep that in mind. Let this Ime situation be example to you, a story to you, a warning for you, and try and have self-discipline because it's hard. But at the same time, you also control your reality. So if you're honest and you're clear about things, you ain't gotta worry about stuff like that. But other than that, hey, take care of yourself and make sure everybody eats, B.